Well, I've never been accused of being a religious person, but if I was, this would be my church. Welcome to Rutland Water. Everyone probably has that favourite venue where the night before they lie staring at the ceiling like a little kid waiting on Christmas morning. Well, for me, as far as still waters go, Rutland Water is that venue. So without further ado, let's get into it. Rutland is a huge venue and you can get yourself lost just in one of the arms. Luckily I'm here for a couple of days. The weather forecast is extremely favourable with light winds and very little chance of rain, so at least we'll be comfortable. So over the next couple of days I'm hoping to find some of Rutland's better overwintered fish. That says the stocked fish give you a hell of a fight as well. So as far as recent reports go, the reservoir has been on top form. Let's hope it continues for our trip here. Before we get started though, let's go and have a look in the well-stocked tackle shop. It's been a long time since I've been in a tackle shop due to lockdown, and I'm ready for some retail therapy. Well, me and Ian are afloat now. We've been fishing for about an hour. We had our traditional drift into Church Bay. 14 boys kind of our thing. We always have a drift there. But remarkably, we didn't get a follow or a take there. So we've moved round into the bay behind the sailing boats. There's a boat here. There's a few bankies, which would suggest that there's a few fish in the bay. But the sun's beaten down fairly hard and I've just lashed up some sun cream again. And we've still not seen a fish caught yet, but it's early days and I'm confident that we will eventually find them. Well, we thought we'd edge our bets. Ian started with a pooling game, so he's got a DI5 on, some horrendously big lures, which I'll be speaking to him about later. And I've started with a straight through buzzer approach, figuring that the water's still quite cold, the fish are probably still not very active. So I've got 4 buzzers on, a heavy grub hook, one size 8 on the point, and then a couple of 10s above that, and then just to be on the safe side I've got a 12 on my top dropper. But nothing to show you yet, and we'll see how we get on as the day progresses. Me and Ian have come up to Hideaway Bay and there was about 11 boats in here, which was a bit surprising because all the reports have said that the North Arm's fishing better, so we thought we would head up to the south for a bit of peace and hopefully plenty of good fishing. But it is quite busy. We've had to drop anchor because none of the boats are drifting. They're finding a spot and they're dropping anchor, so we've done likewise. Cameron Neil's in front of me. He must have had over 20 fish to the boat easily. And when I got up here, I was fishing the washing line, and I'll put a little link up in the bar there if you're not sure what the washing line is. Ian, my partner, was on the Bong, and I took one quite close into the bank on the washing line while I was still drifting. But after having a little chat with Cameron, we both soon quickly switched to the Bong, and the sport's been pretty hectic since then. Not caught anything massive. I think Ian's had the best of it with a 2-3 pound fish, but I'm just catching your average run-of-the-mill stockies, which, hey, they all need love. Well, I've got my Bong set up at 4 foot from my Bong to the first fly, and I've got a size 8 heavy grub hook on that, and then another 4 foot to my next fly. Again, it's a size 8 heavy grub hook, and another 4 feet to a size 8 heavy grub hook, giving me a total length of 12 feet, and I've not caught a fish yet on anything other than my point. Well, Cam's moved off to another area, and we've moved into his parking spot, if you like. There's a queue of boats behind us waiting to get in, but the takes on the Bong have dried up, and Ian had the good idea to change to an intermediate and just try pulling through with lures, and the sport's picked right back up again. We've had 4 or 5 fish since we made the change, and it's obviously, the moral of the story is, if you stop catching on one method, try changing. So basically what I've done is I've put on a DI3 Expert, about 10 foot of tippet material, and just a single humongous. I'm throwing it out as far as I can, roly-polying it back, and the fish are just locking up. Well, the sport on the lures is great fun, but it gets boring pretty quickly. We were getting offers every other cast actually at one point, and which is fine, but there's been a prolific buzzer hatch, so I've gone back to washing line tactics. And if you remember back, if you follow the channel, I'll stick a little link up there if you've not seen it, just discussing how I fish the washing line, and I'm doing it exactly as I've described in the previous video. And just before I've done this little bit to shot, I've cast out, and before I could speak, my rod's nearly gone over the side because I should be paying attention to the fishing. Well, the sun's getting pretty low in the sky now, and I was actually hoping to show Ian a lot more of the South Arm today, but it's very difficult to leave feeding fish, and we've been on a whole pile of them, and the fishing's been phenomenal. When it slowed up a bit, you just had to change your tactics and you were straight back in about it. So Rutland hasn't disappointed, and never had a doubt. Ian's fished extremely well today, and he assures me that he's caught 3 more fish than me.
Oh.
And he's lying, it's 3, but I'll let him have today, and tomorrow he's going to school. Well, day 2 of our Rutland adventure, and it couldn't be any more different. So yesterday I was stripped down to just a shirt. The sun was beating down. I think I've caught a bit of the sun. Luckily I was wearing the old Kiddie Factor 50. But today we've turned up, it's a lot colder, and there's a fair old breeze going as well, which is cutting through the layers that I've put on to keep warm today. So a different day, maybe demanding of different tactics. Yesterday we fished a lot of straight line buzzers, the Bong, the washing line. We did go to pooling for a while, but I think today the pooling game might be much more prevalent. But we'll just need to see what happens. So Rutland Water, it's huge, and if there's a wind on it, it can get pretty choppy out there. Now, if you're coming for more than a couple of days fishing, or even if you're just coming for 1 day's fishing, the weather can turn here on a sixpence, so make sure you're well prepared. Yesterday I was stripped down to all but a shirt, and today I've got base layers on, medium layers and a shell. Now, I will take onto the boat with me a waterproof layer as well. There's no rain forecast, but the weather forecasters don't always get it right. Well, we've come up to the North Arm today for a little change of scene, and I was saving the North Arm for the second day because I thought all the reports said it was better, but after fishing the south yesterday, I did kind of think, you know what, it can't get any better than this. So we came up the north, and on the advice of Andy Dunn, who's a professional guide here on Rutland, I started just before the tree near the transporter, and I've set up with lures. It's a bit windy for the buzzers as yet, and first cast I got a double hook up and the fish took my top dropper and swam away. I got the one on the point, but after that I thought I'm not going to bother with two flies. I've just fished the single fly and the fish have just kept coming. Sport's been absolutely hectic, even in these windy conditions. So we've done quite a bit of pooling. Ian wanted some fish for friends and family, so we've taken some to the bag. But what we're going to do soon is head over to the lee shore and try and get some better fish on the buzzers. Well, Ian and I have come over to Tim Appleton's, and I've had a change of tactics. I've gone to the Bong, and it's still quite rough, but what happens when you've got a little wave like that is what your Bung's doing, it's going up and down, and the buzzers are doing likewise, and that's very akin to what the natural's doing. So often it can be very productive. We've only had one drift in so far, and it's not produced anything. Ian had a follow from a good fish, but he's still pulling the big stuff. It's just a different reservoir over this side, so it depends on where you go. You can have this nice tranquil water, or you can have the washing machine. Now, to be fair, we were catching an awful lot of fish in the washing machine, and it was great fun, but you know, you do get a wee bit bored with that, and it's good to try different things. So we're going to try some different tactics over here and see if we can't find something a little better. Well, as the day's wearing on, it seems to be getting colder rather than warming up. We've come across the Dickos now. Ian's managed to take a fish, pulling back lures. I've been on the Bung, I've tried a little bit of straight line in, but I'm absolutely freezing now, so what I'm going to do is get my pulling rig back on. We're going to head back into the washing machine and try and get a few more fish. Well, we've been bouncing the Hambleton Peninsula in the North Arm, and Ian's just caught the first brown of our trip. So let's have a wee look at it. Well, the afternoon's wearing on, and certainly coming back over to this opposite bank's paid off. Ian and I are both pulling lures, and the sport's been pretty phenomenal, I've got to say. Rutland never ceases to amaze me. You know, such a large expanse of water, you would think there was fish in every square feet of it the last couple of days, and we've had an absolute ball. But what we've found is earlier on this morning when we started, the fish were much further out from the bank, and this afternoon they seem to be pressing closer into the banks, and we're actually catching fish just 1 or 2 feet from the bank side. Well, it wouldn't be a trip to Rutland without finishing off with a few drifts in Church Bay before we get ready for our long drive home. We've had a fantastic couple of days. Ian and I have caught more fish than I care to recall. It's been superb sport. It's both our favourite venue actually. We were just discussing it. There's nowhere quite like Rutland Water. It can be really kind, it can be really cruel. But one of the things that got us off to a really good start this morning, I bumped into one of the local guides, Andy Dunn, and he gave me a fantastic steer, and it really made a big difference to our day. We went straight to where we knew there were fish, and we got straight in about them. It's been a great couple of days. If you've never visited Rutland, you should stick it on your bucket list. It's well worth the visit. Thanks very much for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash the bell for notifications of any new videos that I post. Take care and tight lines till next time. Ian's just hooked into one here, which he's making a right mess of, I might add, but yeah, it's lucky I'm not fishing, Ian, innit? But yeah, he's a very poor angler, but he is coming on under my tutelage.
I'll not put that in, mate.
Well, the sport has... Oh, bugger.
Well, this is Hallie.
Oh, for goodness sake.